Hi everybody and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm doing a little mood reading vlog. I wanted to give a little update as to where I'm starting this video out. I went through a little bit of a couple day slump. I just really had no desire to pick up anything. I got air through the library, but I just really didn't want to read that. So I figured let me just read something simple and easy, which I decided to get my Kindle Unlimited subscription again so that I could read the Windy City series by Liz Humford. So I started reading this yesterday and I'm already like halfway through. I am 46% of the way through, caught up, and I am enjoying it so far. I actually started this book, I think last year. I got around maybe 5 to 10% of the way through, so I was pretty familiar with the beginning of this and how it started. This is a sports romance. It follows Kai, who is a single dad, and his coach's daughter Miller is visiting for the summer, and conveniently Kai needs a nanny, so Miller is going to watch his son for the summer. Miller is also a world famous baker. She is known for helping out restaurants getting their Michelin stars, but she's in a kind of rut, so she is taking a summer break. You see, Miller is someone that does not want to stay in one place for too long, so she jumps from place to place. I really liked The Right Move, which is the second book in the series. This is the third. I believe there's 5 total. So that's where we're starting out. I like it so far. I think that Miller, I really like her as a character. The characters are a little bit frustrating for me just because they're kind of set in their ways. Miller is intent on not staying in one place for too long, even though you can kind of see that her job is making her unhappy. So just like, I'm like, come on guys, can you realize this already? But I'm enjoying getting to see them banter and flirt. Kai used to be a huge flirt, and then he has his son now, so he's just very much in dad mode. And you see Miller trying to bring out that more flirty side of him again. So it's really sweet in that aspect. I'm enjoying it. I don't really have any other notes on this for right now. I also am not really listening to an audiobook right now either. I started Out of the Woods by Hannah Bonham Young, but for some reason I'm just not really in the mood to listen to an audiobook right now. So we'll see. I'm not sure. But that's where we're starting out. I am going to take you guys along for a few days of reading. Hi guys, it's Saturday night and I have a little bit of an update. I read probably around 25% of Caught Up today, and I am on 71% of the way through. I have a few thoughts, but really not too many. With it, it's a very temporary situation. She's only really going to be there for the summer. And I feel like I'm realizing that kind of trope where there's a specific like end date of the relationship just really isn't one of my favorites to read about. I feel like it's just frustrating a little bit just because typically with that, I feel like a lot of the times in that situation, whoever is the one that is leaving typically has some sort of issue with commitment or attachment issues. So you see them just really struggle to want to be in a relationship or allow themselves to make those connections. So I feel like it's just sometimes a little bit frustrating because you see that they are harboring these feelings of attachment or love and everything, but they are so adamant not to. And I think it is a little bit like that in this book. It's not as bad, but sometimes I'm definitely like, girl, come on. Use your common sense. Like, you obviously have these feelings towards them. So I don't know. It's very entertaining. It's a good time. And I am interested to see how the story plays out. Hi guys, I have a little bit of an update as to where I'm at in Caught Up. Last night, I think I got into bed around like 9:30 and I read for around an hour. I started out at 71% and I got to 84%. So I read around 13%. And this morning I did some reading as well and I got to 92%. So I'm hoping to just sit down and finish this. I will say that I think it is getting a little bit, not better because it hasn't been bad at all, but I just struggle with that one aspect of the storyline, like more so than just the trope where there's this specific end date and both the characters obviously like they don't want whoever's leaving to leave, but they're struggling with that fact. So it just feels a little bit redundant to me, those kind of storylines, but I am really enjoying it. I think that that kind of realization of both the characters harboring this feeling of guilt over things that have happened throughout their lives and feeling like they owe it to people to repay them. And so you're seeing a character, face that fact and realize that this guilt that they have really isn't necessary. I think that that was something that needed to happen, and I'm glad that that was worked through. I'm excited to see how this story plays out, and I definitely think once I finish this, I want to dive into play along. Let's sit down and let's finish this. I am looking forward to seeing how it ends. Hi guys, it is a plethora of days later, and I honestly have no idea where I left this vlog off at. I believe that I had just finished reading Caught Up by Liz Tomford, and I think I was about to start Play Along by Liz Tomford. So let me tell you what happened. So I started this vlog before I went to visit my family back home, and the whole couple days leading up to me leaving, I was really busy, really didn't have any time to read. I don't know if I am just in a little bit of a slump or what. So it took me 9 days to finish Play Along, and I'm gonna be really honest with you, I really don't think I liked it that much, which is so crazy because I feel like I have seen so many people love that book so much, but I really don't even know what I would rate it. It is the fourth book in the Windy City series, and so it follows Isaiah and Kennedy. Isaiah is a professional baseball player, and Kennedy is one of the athletic trainers on the team. And she has been on the team for 3 years now, and that whole time he's just hopelessly in love with her and constantly flirting with her, but she was engaged for quite a while of that time. But it was basically like an arranged engagement. Her family's very wealthy, and so eventually she's not engaged. They end up getting married, like an accidental marriage basically. And it just basically follows them trying to play along in this fake marriage, because if they don't, Kennedy could get fired because there's no like fraternizing between staff and players. I just didn't really like it, guys. I don't know if it's the book, I don't know if it was me. It just felt like kind of boring for a lot of the beginning, and I just felt like I didn't really love either of the characters. I don't know. I really just don't know if it was the book. I don't know if it was me. I'm not sure what exactly. So I finished that yesterday. And then I also listened to Out of the Woods by Hannah Bonham Young because I loved Out on a Limb. I just read that, or I just listened to the audiobook of that by her. And I did not like Out of the Woods at all. I feel so bad to say that because of how much I enjoyed Out on a Limb by her. But it took me also what feels like forever to listen to the audiobook. I don't know if it's me, I don't know if it's the book. So I have some updates on what I'm starting and what I'm in the middle of. So I'm still in the remnants, I'm still in the thick of my buddy read of Remarkably Bright Creatures by Shelby Van Pelt. This is my buddy read with my mom, so I'm finally making some more progress. I am over around 60% of the way through. I am on page 235. So I only have around like 100-ish more pages, a little over 100. So I'm hoping to finish this month. That is the goal. I'm doing a little bit of a hybrid with this book. I started reading it, was like, started listening to it, kind of was getting lost with what was happening. Started reading it again physically, and then read a lot of it physically, and now I'm kind of doing a little bit of both just because I think I'm more familiarized with the characters and the story and what's going on, that it's a little bit easier to follow the audiobook of. So, hoping to finish this soon. I listened to probably 20 pages of it today, but I don't want to go too far ahead because my mom needs to catch up. So yesterday I started reading Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil by V.E. Schwab. So I got the ebook through the library, so I'm reading it through my Kindle just because this book is thick. This is a thick book. It's a heavy book. I only think I'm around 30 pages in it. I feel like this is gonna take me a while to read. I got the physical book when I went back home. This book follows 3 toxic vampires. I'll read you the back. It says, 3 young women, their bodies planted in the same soil, their stories tangling like roots. One grows high and one grows deep and one grows wild, and all of them grow teeth. It takes place over the span of 1532, 1827, and 2019. Only really like 5% into the book, which is, I'm scared. Let's see, yeah. It says I'm on page 32, 6%. I read 2 other books by V.E. Schwab. I read A Darker Shade of Magic and The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, and I wasn't crazy about either of them. So, bold decision buying the physical book of this one, but I feel like I could like it. I've seen a lot of people love it, so I'm hoping that I too enjoy it. So I'm hoping to maybe get like 10 to 15% of the way through this. We'll see. I don't know. We'll see where the day takes us. That's all I have to say for now. Those are my updates. I'll see you guys later. Bye. Hi guys, it's Friday night and I have a couple reading updates. Honestly, I don't know whatever bug got into me in June with how many books I read. I read 15, but it's left me, okay? It has left me because I have no ambition to like listen to any books. I am and was enjoying Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil by V.E. Schwab. I'm around 40% of the way through, but I definitely do think that I don't want to say I'm getting bored because I'm not, but I just feel like maybe the story is not dragging. This is a very, very character-driven book. There's honestly not a lot of plot at all. You're mostly just kind of following these characters and focusing a lot on them in this kind of journey, some of these interactions and experiences and this kind of unquenchable hunger that they have because they are vampires. This talks about 3 vampires, but so far we've only really seen 2. There is a third, and you do see mentions of her, and there's a couple chapters in her point of view, but most of the book so far has been one main and one other kind of other character that you're focusing on too. I am interested to see how things continue and where the story is going to go. I will say that one character does have a lot of these flashbacks or kind of memories resurfacing, and I don't necessarily love those scenes. I definitely have a preference for one character over the other of the points of views that we're getting. So I don't know. I feel like I am enjoying it so far, but I don't know. I'm definitely like maybe not hitting a block. I think also I have been reading it on my Kindle. In the beginning, I did read some of it in the physical book. I think I'll continue now because I'm home and with the physical book. I'll continue trying to read it this way because sometimes I like just holding a book rather than on my Kindle. I have around 300 and 15 pages left. So I'm hoping to get a good chunk of the way into this tomorrow. Goal is going to get to like 55 to 60%, I think. Hi guys, so it's Monday and I honestly, I hate to say, really did not read that much this weekend. I probably only read maybe like not even 5%, maybe like 2 to 3% of Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil by V.E. Schwab. But today, things are looking up. Things are definitely looking up. So I was able to get quite a bit of reading done today throughout the day. So let me tell you where I'm at. So I don't know where I left off, but I started this morning out at 47% of the way through. Actually, I can tell you probably where I was around. I was probably around page 240-ish. I'm not sure how accurate that is, but today I am now 73% of the way through. I was able to get through around 26% of this, which I was pretty impressed with, I'm not going to lie, just because I feel like this is a book that I am not taking my time with, but it just is taking me a little bit longer. It's not the book's fault, it's entirely my fault. I'm just very, very busy with life right now. With that being said, I just really have not had the most time on the weekends, but I definitely have some more formative thoughts. Last week when I read up to 47%, I had some thoughts about not necessarily the pacing, but I feel like in one character's point of views, we are getting a lot of flashbacks. And I'm just not necessarily sure how those flashbacks will tie into the story. I'm not sure if there will be a reveal as to what the flashbacks are leading up to and how it'll all tie together or not. But right now it just feels a little bit boring in my opinion to read those flashbacks, but I don't want to skim over them or skip over them just because in case something does tie back into the story later on, I want to be aware of what's going on. The other thing is that this book follows 3 points of views. In the beginning, you're definitely mostly following 2. In the beginning, you are following like these. You're following person A and person B. And person C is talked about, but not really given a large point of view. However, I'm getting at the part in the story now where we don't have any more person's A point of view, but we do have person B and person C. I don't want to give anything away, but so now we don't have person A, but we do have these two. So one person's point of view has pretty much remained constant. That's kind of like the character that is not tying everything together, but definitely in terms of how things are going about. So I wasn't sure how things were going to play out, but I can definitely see now how things are kind of playing out. So I definitely am interested to see how this continues and what the end result will be, because honestly, I really don't know what's going to happen at the end. So yeah, that's my update. I haven't listened to anything else besides what I've been reading of this book. So yeah, I definitely do want to listen to my audiobook. I have listened to a little bit of it, but not that much, so I definitely need to catch up. I think I have like 40 or 50 pages to read to catch up to my mom, so that's definitely going to be on my to-do list for the week. But that's the update for now. I just wanted to kind of come on and give an update. Hi guys, and happy Wednesday. I have officially finished reading Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil by V.E. Schwab, and I do have some thoughts and opinions that I would like to share. Honestly, I don't really know what I want to rate this book. I feel like I might do a 3.75 rounded up to a 4. I have read 2 other books by V.E. Schwab and I wasn't crazy about either of them, but I saw so much love and so much hype over this book that I wanted to try it out. I think that the premise of this book was really interesting to me. It's about 3 toxic vampires. And at first, I wasn't really sure how that toxic element was going to play out when I started reading it because, well, yes, I did see some aspects of that. You really see the more toxic and especially more abusive side of things towards the end of the book. This book is very, 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 very character driven. There is honestly not a lot of plot in this book, and you're mostly just following these characters along. And you start to wonder how things will play out and if things will all come together or if you are just kind of following these individuals that, you know, eventually you see them weave together, but how will it all tie together at the end? So I did think that I had a preference to read about certain characters' points of view in this book. There were 3. One, I was just a little bit bored with. The other 2 I did find more interesting. And so with that being said, at times it did feel not slow, but just a little bit boring when I was reading at certain characters' chapters. But I will say that I really enjoyed this story. I thought it was very interesting. I really, really enjoyed the writing in this. It's quite lyrical, it's quite poetic, and I just really, really thought that the writing was beautifully done. And I really did feel like it was very atmospheric and eerie, and you were almost a little bit unsettled with how some of these characters who are vampires, who really sometimes don't have that full humanity level where they're so okay with doing these very questionable things, but that's how they survive. So it was just a very, very interesting story to follow along with. I actually did like the ending as well. I know that I saw someone say that it felt a little bit rushed, and I do actually agree with that a little bit. It did feel not abrupt, but just like, wow, things wrapped up really, really quick. But I did like the actual way that the ending was carried out and the way that it actually did end. So yeah, I think I would give this a 3.75 to a 4-star. I had a pretty good time reading it. It did take me a little bit while. It took me 15th to the 22nd, so it took me around a week to read it. And the other thing that I did want to say is that I started, and by started I mean very, 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 very briefly, started Enchantra by Kaylee Smith. This is the second book to Phantasma, which I read in October last year. It was a pretty spooky, atmospheric romantasy. So this is the second book to that. I kind of just wanted something that didn't really require too much brain power, because sometimes it felt like I was really trying to focus on every single line in this book where I was like, oh my god, this is taking me forever. So I really only think I read like the prologue last night before I fell asleep. I actually have been listening to the audiobook of Remarkably Bright Creatures by Shelby Van Pelt. Let me tell you where I'm at in that. So I'm around 84% of the way through. I really don't have too much more. I have an hour and 20 minutes left. Hi guys, it is a few days later. It's Saturday, and boy oh boy, I have one major update, well, kind of 2. First of all being that I finished Remarkably Bright Creatures by Shelby Van Pelt. I think I will give this book around a 3.75. This book took me about 2 months to read, but purely for the fact that I buddy read this book with my mom, so we only really read a couple chapters a week. We just took it pretty slow. That's how we do most of our books. But I did enjoy this book. I think that the overall story was fairly heartwarming. I did think that one character was quite childish, and I did predict the ending pretty much, not exactly, but like very, very, very close to exactly what happened. So I did think it was not bad by any means. Then I felt very, very, very slumpy. I tried reading Enchantra, but I really just couldn't get into it. I had like no ambition to pick it up at all whatsoever. And I feel like sometimes whenever I feel that way, and ever I feel like I'm kind of getting a little bit slumpy, I always pick up a thriller just because it's something different. It's not something I typically read, and they're pretty interesting to the point where I'm going to be trying to guess what's going to happen. I'm making predictions, I'm engaged. And so I was like, okay, let me pick up a book that I have been meaning to read. It was really popular about a year ago, and this is None of This Is True by Lisa Jewell. I got this through the library, and I started it Thursday. I was around I got around 8% of the way in on Thursday. And yesterday I got up to around 70%. So I read a lot of it. It is, wow. It is very, very, very engaging. It's a very unique story and it's very eerie and unsettling, but not too much so in like a creepy way, just in like a, oh, like this lady's insane. I liked it so much that I went to the bookstore today and actually picked up the physical copy of it. It's downstairs. I forgot to bring it upstairs, but I really, really, really am enjoying it. I have, let's see how much I have left. I have 14% left. I'm 86% of the way through. This book, you guys, I am flying through it. To kind of tell you the premise of this book, it takes place in 2019 in London, and it follows our two main characters. So there is Alex and Josie. Alex is a podcast host. She has this podcast, I believe it's called All Women or something along the lines of that, where she interviews these successful women that have had to go through hardships. And one day she is at a pub celebrating her 45th birthday. And when she's there, Josie, our other main character, is also there celebrating her 45th birthday. And they end up that they were born the exact same day in the exact same hospital. And Josie overhears Alex say her name, and Josie just starts kind of developing this very eerie fascination with Alex. She discovers that she has a podcast, she listens to all the episodes, and then she approaches Alex and is like, you should do a podcast about me. Like, I know that you normally interview women that have already changed their lives, but I'm about to change my life, so you should interview me. And basically, Alex is like, okay, and she agrees to do it. But you just learn that Josie is crazy. Josie is insane. So it is very, very, very eerie. This girl needs help. So I read another book by Lisa Jewell earlier this year, and I remember thinking that it wasn't really a thriller. It was more so just an unsettling, eerie story. But this one I think is a little bit more of a thriller. You're more like, oh my gosh, like what's gonna happen next? But I will say that with the reveal in that book, it was more just a slowly uncovering each layer and each detail. With this book, I did see someone say that the ending was a little lackluster. So I'm not sure if maybe it will be the same kind of thing in this book where she's just kind of been slowly revealing what's going on throughout this past, I think like around 70%, you start really discovering like what's going on. But I'm not sure if it will be kind of like that, or if there will just be like one final big reveal at the end. I'm not 100% sure, but either way, I am loving this. It's crazy. So I'm going to sit down now and finish it. I have been flying through it, so I really don't think it's going to take me that much longer to read. 18 minutes left in the book. So let's sit down, let's lock in, and let's finish this, and you'll get my raw, real reaction. We already have gotten quite a few things revealed, so I'm not sure how much else is going to be revealed. There is someone that is... There's still kind of like a investigation going on, but I will say that the other really interesting thing about this book is that it's told also like from back and forth between Josie and Alex's point of view, but then every so often it is like a Netflix show that was adapted about this podcast and everything that's going on that they're revealing. And so you're having these other people interviewed and they're kind of giving little anecdotes about, you know, Josie or Alex or whatever is exactly kind of slowly being revealed. You're kind of also learning additional aspects from these other people. So it's very, very interesting. I'm very, very nervous to see what's going to happen. So let's lock in. I really don't know how I feel. I just finished it. And I feel like the ending was still very ambiguous about what exactly happened. I don't want to spoil anything, but it just feels like there are so many unreliable narrators throughout this book that you really don't know what's true and what's not true. Hence the name, None of This Is True. So I don't know exactly what I'll rate. I think maybe like a 4.5, maybe a 5. I'm not sure. We'll see. You'll have to wait and see until my wrap up and to see exactly what I rated it. But overall, Lisa Jewell does write a very eerie, creepy, unsettling story. So I definitely think that she excels at that. If you've read any of her other books, this is my second book by her. This might have gotten me out of my slump. I don't really know. We'll have to see what I'm gonna read next. I genuinely have no idea what I'm gonna read next, but I hope you guys enjoyed this little mood reading vlog. Kind of slumpy, kind of getting out of a slump. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you've read any of these books, I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments below, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye!